How's it growing, beautiful people? Lil B here with Lil B's Garden. Today I want to share with y'all the progress of the greenhouse. It's been a little while since I did a little video, but I've been showing pictures and stuff on Facebook, but just wanted to do a little catch-up video. So as you can see, everything is taking off beautifully. I still got some stuff to transplant, but it's official. We have our first peppers popping up, little buds. Let's see if I can get to it. Let's come around this side. Sorry to make anybody seasick or motion sick. All right, there we go. Pepper buds. So getting some flowers, and this pepper variety is Cajun Bell. So I'll have quite a few of those planted, and those are just in a cracky tote with a pool noodle. And then let's see, we have another couple peppers mixed in with some, I believe these are the either the Rosita or just the Purple Beauty eggplant. And we have some action on those as well. I'll show you a little. Y'all mind my moaning and groaning. I kind of blew out my knee, so bear with me. But there we are. There's a little set of flowers. And I didn't know, I mean, I knew some varieties, but man, those little thorns, they're not super sharp, but they do look like they could mess you up if you're not careful. That's neat. So we have down here, show y'all, see a bunch of stuff that we still got to transplant. Some of it's not doing so good, but I haven't been able to get out here in the last couple of days and take care of everything too much because of my knee. But got a bunch of dwarf tomatoes that needs to be transplanted. Some peppers right here need to be transplanted. Some more peppers, and then I got that's lettuce leaf basil. It makes a really big leaf, really good. It's a mild basil. And then so the lettuce right here, looking incredible. It's starting to really fill out, and then it's about a week, 2 or 3 weeks or so, we'll be able to start harvesting. And you can always do, it's called the cut and come again method. So what you do is, like, you'll take 1 or 2 leaves off of each plant, and then they'll grow more. So I mean, you can actually start harvesting at this stage, but I'd let them get a little bit bigger personally. But so that's that whole thing. That's another cracky method, but it's also hooked into I ran these in series, so just hooked one to the other, but it's just a little 1/4-inch hose, and then inside is a float valve, and get those off of Amazon, and I'll put the link in the description for y'all. So, but a lot of my systems run this way. They're super easy, especially like if you want to go out of town, take a little vacation, you can do that. So what we have here is some Thai basil, and you can see we had a few plants that it kind of works out pretty good, because these are kind of like sacrificial plants. The aphids tore them up pretty bad, but I had purchased green lacewings like 2 years ago, last year. Actually, I did buy some last year too, and let them go inside the house. They migrated outside. Last year I didn't even have any aphids in this greenhouse, and if any of y'all had seen my any of the videos or photos from last year, it was a jungle in there, and I didn't see one aphid. It did get a lot of like leaf footers and some other bugs, but I had assassins for those. So it's pretty neat how nature balances itself out, so like this, this plant didn't make it because it got ate up from aphids. Got a few more lettuces here. But to show you all the success stories, especially fighting the aphids, you can see down here, that's all the gross little aphid carcasses. But if you look at the plant, you might find a couple here and there. But these bok choy were covered in aphids last week, a couple days ago. And so, but what I'm finding is that I'm finding the green lacewings are coming in and cleaning house. So anybody that's ever had trouble with aphids and you don't want to use chemicals, I mean, you can use ladybugs and stuff like that, but I found from all my research and just personal experience that the green lacewing is better than the ladybug, because ladybugs tend to fly away and they migrate a lot more. Once the green lacewings lay eggs and they establish a spot on plants, they'll usually stick to that plant, or if not, at least the same plants in the general area. They don't tend to fly away. For one, even the adults, for the adults, what you need though is pollen. I almost forgot about that part. So if you plant in succession and you plant like marigolds or anything that has pollen, the adults will eat pollen and the nymphs eat like aphids and thrips and smaller insects. So I'm not saying not to use ladybugs. If you want to use like a combination, it'd probably be great, but from what I've seen, the ladybugs tend to not stick around as long. So just a little word of advice for y'all if y'all want to try that. We have dwarf tomatoes, and I'm not sure if these have flowers. Oh, yep, look, we're getting a little flower set right here. So these are really taking off nicely. And a little bit more bok choy. And so a little tomato getting beat up. And I'll show you all, this is the 275 gallon water tank. And I've shown this before, but the little system that's set up on it. So to give y'all a little more detail, there's a couple of little add-ons that you have to do for some of these tanks. This thing, it doesn't even screw in. It's got the little clamp, so it just clamps on because the main valve was leaking. But I also needed to be able to convert to the 3/4 for the hose and for the splitter. So as you can see, I got different tubing running to different directions. So like this tube goes off to some containers in the back corner, which I have to transplant those eggplant into. And we got some more tomatoes and peppers and other stuff. So y'all mind the progress. It's always a mess around here. So, but anyway, the splitter runs off into a couple of different situations. I have one open for another system I'm going to build, but so I have a main hose. This is my fill line, so I just run this to the tap and then fill the tank, and then I add nutrients to it. This line runs for these containers. There's those 3 containers I just showed y'all, and they're just in succession. I'll run one to the next, and they just basically, as long as your tank is full, your big tank, these will continue to use gravity to feed, with the little float valve. So let's see if I can do this without messing anything up. So you just push down on the float valve and it starts filling. So as the water level drops, it'll trickle, and it'll keep these containers at a certain level. So you don't have to worry about, not only filling it, but with Cracky, the way Cracky works is as the plants drink the water and the nutrients and stuff, it creates an air zone, and the plant itself creates air roots. So, if you continue to let that drink, it'll empty the container. You can refill it, but you can only fill it up so high, because you'll kill those air roots. If you do it this way and you keep it consistent, it'll form those air roots, but it'll also just have a set level, so you don't have to worry about the plants drowning and stuff and overfilling. It'll just constantly stay at that level as long as you keep a full reservoir. So, that's part of it. And I'm going to break this stuff down in detail, just showing y'all, a little bit of the progress and then some of the failures. And, if you're in any of the Facebook groups or in the Facebook group, I've shown the spaghetti squash quite a few times, and it is, as you can see, dying. And it's not for lack of nutrition or anything else like that, but if you see the little white film on it, got powdery mildew. And I really didn't plan this out very well to begin with, and I had no idea that spaghetti squash was a big vining plant. I just thought it was like a regular squash that it gets big, but puts out like cookneck squash or whatever. So, but we still have multiple. There's 4 big fruits on it right now, and I'm gonna just let it roll and pick those, and then I'm gonna go ahead and start over and then set up a little better for this, make like a little trellis system. But this is a really good spot for anything that vines, like cucurbits, like squash and cucumbers and stuff like that. I grew cucumbers here last year and it was amazing. They just love this spot, and so I'm gonna probably do the same thing on the other side where I move those containers. I'm debating on doing that, or maybe I should put eggplants in there, because those eggplants are getting pretty big. A lot of this stuff is getting pretty big. I love using these little yellow totes for starting stuff and letting them get to a certain size, but once they get to a certain point, they do start to tend to fall over. But what I'm gonna do is, and then after a while, they run out of space, so they compete for space. So anytime you plant a lot of plants like this together, eventually they'll outgrow their containers, and there's another problem with that, is that you have to worry about pests. But as y'all can see, these pepper plants are doing pretty well. We got this is a Murasaki purple, and it's putting out flowers. And these are black and reds, which I've never seen before. It's a new pepper that I'm growing, but you can see that we have aphids on some of the plants, but it seems like the lacewings are keeping up with them, and I'm looking to see if I can find a lacewing, but I don't think that's what that is. So, but anyway, especially like the nymphs for lacewings are really hard to see, and you can tell the adults because they have little wings. They look like little gnats. Oh, there's one right there. So if I can get into it, let me zoom in a little bit. Sorry about my photography, y'all. Oh, never mind, that's an ant. Okay, so, but I know they're here. I've seen them, quite a few, so if you give nature a chance, you don't have to use poisons and stuff like that, because it's not good for you, it's not good for the plants. If you can, before you do all that stuff, try to do the natural route and just use nature to combat nature. So, but look, all the peppers taking off really well. So I'm really happy with the setup right now, and I'm gonna have to be transplanting a bunch of this stuff, and I will document some of that for y'all. But I'm starting to get a little tired, so I'm gonna go ahead and cut this video short. Y'all have a great day and happy gardening, and talk to you next time. Peace.